At the end of a long and stressful school year, have you ever thought about I really can't hold on? To be honest, how many of us have dreamed of taking a year off before going to college? Imagine that you can have a whole year to rest, explore new things, and get to know yourself without falling behind others. What would you think if I told you that taking a year off from school can actually make you more successful in college? No worries, right? So this is the meaning of gap year. Gap year refers a planned rest period after graduating from a high school and before the start of college, during which students can do something meaningful such as travel, work on, and volunteer service. It is not only a holiday but also a year of personal growth. Britain, Australia, and other countries have supported this idea for decades, and now the top universities in the United States have followed suit. Harvard University has officially encouraged students to carry out a gap year. According to the data of Harvard College Admissions 2024, students who have postponed their enrollment tend to be more mature, more motivated, and more adapted to college life after returning to school. Therefore, this idea is not to escape from school but to prepare for school. So, to tell the truth, we are either already in college or about to enter the university campus. We all know the feeling of exhaustion staying up until 2 in the morning to do homework, worry about choosing a major and trying to meet everyone's expectations. Many people go straight to college without rest, but it may not to be wise. Gap year can give us a break, grow up slowly, and make sure that we are on the right path. Students should take a gap year before entering university because it can help them get rid of the state of physical and mental exhaustion, accumulate real world experience, and plan their future more wisely and confidently. So today I will talk about why many students get into trouble after entering the university directly, the causes of these difficulties, and how we plan gap year can help them succeed. So, what actually happens when students skip this break and rush into college? So, first of all, the most obvious problem is physical and mental exhaustion. After years of exams, papers, and college applications, many students are exhausted on the first day of college. According to Harvard College Student Stories 2024, written by Harvard College Communications team, many freshmen said that they were mentally empty and unprepared when they enter school. Think about you finally achieved your college goals for many years, but you are too tired to enjoy this time. This is by no means what education should look like. Lack of rest will make students lose motivation, skip classes, or even drop out of school. Another big problem is not knowing what you want. Many students choose their major only because of the advice of other parents or friends, and later find this major is not suitable for them. According to the National Research Report of Gap Year Association in 2023, conducted by the educational researcher of this institution, students who are engaged in gap year are more likely to have a clear sense of purpose after returning to school, whereas students who are directly enrolled tend to change their majors many times. This means more pressure, higher tuition fees, and more time wasted. So gap year enables students to know their own direction before spending thousands of dollars trying different majors. So why do so many students fall into a state of exhaustion or confusion when they first enter the university? Let's look at the reasons behind it. We were told from an early age that finishing high school, going directly to college, and finding a job, this is the road to success. This is a straight line with no breathing space. Parents often worry that if their children drop out of school, they will lose their self-discipline and even never go back to school. But according to Harvard admissions data in 2024, this kind of worry is out of date. Students who are engaged in gap year tend to return school stronger, more confident, and more independent, and more able to cope with challenges. Therefore, the problem is not the suspension of school itself, but the inherent thinking that slowing down is equal to failure. In fact, slowing down may be the wise way to move forward. Many people imagine gap year as a year of doing nothing, just staying at home or traveling aimlessly. But this is by no means the case. The Gap Year Association 2023, the top gap year research nonprofit organization in the United States, explains that more than 90% of gap year students will return to college with 1 year. And almost all of them said that this experience has made them more motivated and independent. Therefore, the problem lies not in gap year itself, but in people's misunderstanding of it. This is not a year out of study, but a year of studying in different ways through work, travel, or community service. So now that we have discussed the causes, let's focus on the solution. What gap year can actually bring to students? So taking the break from school can help students regain their energy and motivation. Harvard Admission 2024 points out that students who return to school after gap year are refreshed and can devote themselves to their studies. During this period, students can travel, volunteer, and even take short courses to explore new areas of interest. According to Chalmers Hunt 2025, a senior admissions consultant who writes for Rustic Pathways, a global education project, Harvard, Princeton, Duke, and other universities allow students to postpone their enrollment for 1 year, specifically to let them pursue a meaningful global or local experience. These experiences have helped students grow emotionally and socially. When they return to school, they will have a new perspective, more mature mentally, and a real motivation to learn. They are no longer reluctant to attend classes, but are full of enthusiasm for learning. But gap year is not just a rest, but also learning by doing work or internship during gap year can help students find their passion and cultivate their vocational skills before entering university. They will learn to manage money, communicate with colleagues, and take on real-world responsibilities. According to Statistics Canada's data in 2022, students who have made careful planning in gap year will have stronger job preparation skills and a clear career direction in the future. However, the study also found that students who drop out of school without goals and plans sometimes fall into financial difficulties. Therefore, planning is a key. Gap year should not be an escape, but a purposeful choice. The Gap Year Association also found that students who have participated in structured gap year are more satisfied and engaged in learning after returning to school. They have experienced the real world, and this experience will be the motivation for them to study harder. So therefore, when gap year is planned, it is not a retrogression at all, but a return to a stronger, wiser, and more focused state. Students should carry out gap year before college, before it can help them get rid of state of physical and mental exhaustion, accumulate real-world experience, and plan their future more wisely and confidently. So today we discuss the two problems of exhaustion and confusion, the two causes of social pressure and misunderstanding, and the solutions that a well-planned gap year can bring, such as rest, growth, and a valuable life experience. So, before you rush into the next important stage of your life, take some time to think about what you really need. Do you want to start your college life with fatigue and a confusion, or with concentration, confidence, and for preparation? Gap year is not only a sign of weakness, but a sign of maturity. Sometimes the best way to move forward is not to separate, to stop and look around and make sure you're working in the right direction.